Welcome back to Switch to Linux, and this is another outdoor philosophy, and it is cold and it is rainy out, so I'm actually under a pavilion, but I found one with a lot better light than the last time, so I get a chance to lean back on this table here too, so this should be fun. This should be fun. Let me make some adjustments there. Alright. Also got a new camera mount, so I can actually hold the camera a little bit better. I get a better angle, so I'm not like this. Alright, well today we are going to continue on our simplification. So I believe this is part 5 now. I'm going to talk about shopping simplified. And this is a neat one where I'm going to throw you out some of the tips and strategies that I use. And this is one of those things that you need to look at what I'm doing and maybe do some things different, maybe do some things the same. I'm going to give you some things to think about. And one of the challenges with this one is a lot of people are like, well, you're a single guy, you can shop differently than we do because we have a family. And I say, stop having excuses. Okay, I hear a lot of excuses all over the place. I hear them when I'm teaching financial peace classes where people are like, I could never live just on cash. Yeah, you can. It's just called retraining yourself. Okay, trust me, you can do it because there was a time I was a credit and debit card king, and I am not anymore. In fact, I had to, I miscalculated some stuff on my cart the other day. I'm like, I could either put some stuff back or use my debit card. I used my debit card for like the first time in a long time. Purely an accidental thing, but happens every now and again. But we're going to talk about shopping, and we're going to talk about shopping simplified. And I got to remember where my spot was. Okay, so the first thing we want to do as far as shopping simplified is number one thing that is going to help you more than anything is to use cash and go on a list. So I have here my shopping list for the day because I just went to the store. And what you need to do is look through the things that you need and decide how you want to do this. I should do the eating simplified first, but anyway, we'll do that one later. But shopping simplified, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're going to the store with cash and with a list. You have an estimate about how much things are going to cost. You have a rough idea. And so I went into the store today and I said my target is $15 is what I wanted to spend. I spent $15.80. Now I had a buffer of $3 or $4. So the fact that I wanted to spend $15 and I spent $15.80 and I added 2 things that were not on my list that I forgot afterwards that I needed. And so it means I'm doing really good as far as that. So if number one is you start with a list, you go with cash, you know how much it's going to cost, and then you will end up having the ability to not just throw random stuff in your cart. What the list and the cash does, 2 things. It prevents you from just throwing random stuff in your cart, so that prevents impulse buys. And grocery stores are the absolute kings of impulse buys. Their objective is to separate you from as much money as they possibly can. That's why my stores now, what you start to see is at the checkout counter where all the gum and stuff are, now they're starting to put little bright lights there. It draws your attention to it. The stores and the brands pay for the shelf space. And that's why the Oreo cookies and other things that are heavily marketed to children are right at about your waist level because that's the eye level of your children. So they're really good at all this marketing stuff. And you want to go in there with a list with cash in hand because it prevents you from spending things you don't intend to spend, and it prevents you from spending an unknown and undisclosed amount of money. You want to know exactly what you're spending and exactly what you're buying. And you can go in there with an extra 10, 15 bucks and go, okay, this is just extra things I didn't think about, whatever. But make sure you're going in there with a plan. You want a plan because their plan is to separate you from as much money as they possibly can. Your plan needs to be to keep yourself consistent with the budget we talked about last week. All right, the second thing is I avoid Shoppers Club cards, and the reason is they collect a whole lot of data. I've talked about this on my channel before. There was a government, it was somewhere in the Northwest, it was Oregon or Washington, there was a government that bought the people's things, everything people bought with a credit card company. They bought the list and they cross-referenced that with people who own pet licenses, and if anybody bought anything related to a pet and did not buy a pet license, they sent out threatening letters. Okay, I do not need the grocery stores tracking me. They can sell it to other nebulous parties like the government, and I don't need the government knowing the things that I buy, which, by the way, cash also helps with. Because remember that Google has access to over 70+% of all credit card transactions, whether they are online or not. And they can link you back to your purchases if you are using a credit or a debit card through the credit processing systems. And so using cash prevents that. But you avoid the Shoppers Club cards because in addition to that, they'll also send you all of these coupons, which seems like, ooh, that's a good way to save money. Not if you are now enticed to buy something you weren't planning on buying. No, that's spending money, not saving money. Okay, and that's that difference. Is you want to spend, you want to plan on what you're spending. Now, there are other places, if you happen to be a couponer and I'm not, there are great places you can get coupons without using a Shoppers Club card. Now, in the light of this, some stores, in fact, many stores have the club cards at the register, so you can say, please scan the store card. So you'll still get the discount, but you don't get the tracking and all that kind of stuff. There's one store, the major store I usually shop at, they don't have that. I can request them, and then a stupid manager's got to come in and bring their card. I'm like, just keep the cards at the registers, people. But they don't want to do that. It's counter to their plan because they want to collect data on me. And I don't want that to happen because it simplifies my life that I'm not getting extra emails, I'm not getting phone calls, I'm not getting extra mailings in my house, and I know about what things cost, and I don't need all that extra distraction to titillate me to buy things that I otherwise would not buy. And that's that thing. So when they send you a coupon, it's not that you're saving $2, it's that you're spending whatever you weren't going to spend otherwise. Now, the other thing, of course, some people say, well, I get discounts on gas. Not if you pay cash at many gas stations. For example, where I'm sitting right here, there's a gas station less than half of a mile this direction. And if you go in and pay cash, it is cheaper than if you go down with the maximum points at the gas station that's right down the street from it, using all of your points. In which case, you had to spend a ton of money to save a few cents on gas. But many towns have a lot of gas stations. You can go in and drop cash on gas and pay 5 to 10 cents less per gallon than if you do a credit or a debit card. So that's also a fallacy that you do it for the gas points. No, you don't do it for the gas points. You do it, you're using the cash and you're avoiding the card so that you're not getting offers and temptations to buy stuff that you otherwise would not buy. That's why it simplifies things, because it keeps things down to that level where you need it to be. All right? And then, let's see, is there another fallacy there? Like I said, most stores, you can get a card. Some of the stores, the backup auxiliary stores I go to when I just need one or two things, they all actually have their cards at the register. I just go in, throw the things up, say, use the club card, use the store card, they scan it in, no big deal. Awesome, works. And so that is the thing about shoppers cards. Next, bring your own bag. So I have several of these canvas bags. And I don't think I've ever actually bought one. They were all, either conference giveaways or things like that. So I have all of these extra bags. So how many times you have these and you're like, oh, I forgot to bring my bags? Here's a very simple solution. You keep them in your car. Okay? So these bags, I got like 5 of them. They're always in my car. I never really use more than 1 or 2. Now, if you're not a single guy, you will probably use more than that. But what I do is when I shop, I have the bags in the car, I grab the bag, go into the store, blah, 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 bring stuff home. And then when I empty it out, the very next thing I do is I take this bag and I hang it on the doorknob. So that when it's hanging on the doorknob, it is in my way. So when I go out to the car next, take the bag with me and toss it back in the car. So you want to make sure that you are using your own bags, and that's a simplicity that it can in a way control the amount of things you buy. For me, I find that works. The second thing is, part of simplification is we don't need all of this excess crap, like extra bags and extra garbage and extra everything. And so with that being said, inside this bag, actually I stopped at a farmer's market. Shop at your farmer's markets where you can. I just happen to have raw carrots and green beans hanging out in here. I don't have any bags. I do not use the bags that the grocery store gives for produce unless I absolutely have to. So I bought some lettuce today. The lettuce was dripping wet. I put that into a bag. I also bought broccoli. It was not dripping wet, so I did not put that into a bag because I do not need all of these extra bags from going in and, 30, 40 bags, filling up these little bags and whatever else. I just bring the thing right up to the register. Now, the reason I shop at the primary store I do is all of their items, I can put them on a scale, weigh it out, punch in the number, and get a barcode so I know exactly what it costs me. I don't like it when I don't know what the price is because I'm operating on cash and on a budget. And so that's one of the reasons. The second reason I do that is because they have a bulk food section. And a bulk food section, if you have one of those near you, then what you want to do is get the cheap plastic containers, right? And I just have a ton of these. I freeze down my chicken in them. I do prep cook in those. I freeze down soups in those. But I also have a bunch of them that are empty, that are very lightweight, as lightweight ones I can. And I take those with me to the store when I'm going to the store. And then in the bulk food section, again, instead of using bags, I use my little Tupperware containers. Does it cost me a little bit more? Yeah, about 2 or 3 cents more onto the order. But it prevents me from buying extra bags, which consumes extra resources from the environment, which produces extra trash for my house, and it means that I don't throw out trash but once a week. I just don't. Because I don't generate garbage, because I'm not bringing home plastic bags, I'm not bringing home all this other stuff. I'm a very low impact consumer because I bring my own bags, I bring my own containers, and things like that. Well, let's see, we've already talked about the list. I guess the last thing on shopping is don't buy big ticket items without resting on it for a day or two or seeking someone's counsel. Probably more related to buying cars than local shopping. If you're doing shopping, this doesn't necessarily apply. But you want to keep the plan, you want to have the cash, you want to minimize your tracking, you want to bring your own bags. And I guess the other thing, I'll mention it now, well, maybe we'll do a whole section on eating simplified. You know, I don't constantly buy a lot of things. I buy a lot of the same stuff over and over. I know exactly what my food budget's going to be, and my food budget's pretty low. Part of that is because part of eating simplified, I generally only eat once or twice a day, if that. Usually once for sure. Sometimes I'll have some bacon and eggs in the morning. But that's the thing is I do that, and then I also figure out. Sorry for the wind. I also figure out what types of things I need and prep a lot of things myself. So like I make my own soft pretzels, I make my own tortillas, I make my own corn chips. I make about all of those little things we tend to buy a lot of extra for, which has a lot of extra packages, a lot of extra wrappers, a lot of extra things. I make all that stuff myself from scratch at home. And so any amount that I can do, bulk buying things, using my own containers, bringing my own bags, simplifies your life in that you have less garbage, you're generating less waste, you have more of a budget, you know what's going on, you have the cash at hand, you know what your food cost is going to be, and I'm not being side-railed by advertisements, I'm not being side-railed by coupons being sent to me, I'm not being side-railed by emails or by mailings with all these extra things to entice me to go into the store. I want to keep myself simplified. So simplification, that is simplifying your shopping. So thank you for watching. If you'd like to help support what we're doing at Switch to Linux, check out switchtolinux.com/support, and you can learn the ways that you can help us out. You can line the ways too. Briefly, as of this recording this video, I have a Patreon account. You can check out my Patreon, support me over there. I also have a PayPal link directly on my website if you want to send a tip over that way. And I have an Amazon account, affiliate account down there. And so if you do buy things on Amazon, you can click that link, buy things on Amazon, and they'll send a small part of the sale to me, usually like 5% or so. Actually, it's less than that. I don't know, maybe it's 2 or 3%, I don't know. I forget what it is. But anyway, you can help support us in those ways. So thank you for watching, and I hope that you enjoy simplifying your life with Linux.